Hello and welcome to my video on how to create Roderick the Scrappy Deer. During the video I shall be showing you how to make this one. However, this is a roe doe, so she has no antlers, but I will be showing you how to make the antlers and then fitting them onto this one here. Okay, let's get going. So we're going to start with doing the body and head, and we've got two pieces of the body side panel. There's the underside, back section, underside, front section. Then for the head we have two pieces of the back of the head, which I've already stitched down the back and joined those two pieces together. Then we've got the front of the head, which is like the forehead and the under chin, and then two pieces of the side of the head. So once having done the back together, those two, we're now going to fit this down to the side of the head. So if you just pin, I've done this slightly differently with this one. First of all, the head and the body is separate to give you a bit more flexibility with where you'd want the head pointing and whether it's tilting up or down. But also I've made a gap for you to fit the button or eye, whichever way you do it. But first of all we're going to stitch that piece together, matching along there, and then join these two together here, and then stitch it to the side. I'm trying to look for small pins. So we go down, this mark is at the top of the nose, so join it there. So you're going to pivot right on that corner there to get a nice sharp corner to the nose, and then down to that point, and then this curved section all the way down to the base. So do that side, do the one side first, and then we'll add the other side face to it. So we've just put this one side with the chin and the head. So that's one side done. And what happens is this gives you the opportunity, what I've done with mine is to actually put a wire straight through and then attach your eye to it, so it's slightly concealed, which is what a real deer eye is. It's actually under this sort of eyelid. So the choice is yours. Do it like this first of all, see how you feel, and you might want to put a normal eye over top and just cover up the hole, but I think it's quite a good way of doing it. So now you do the same process for attaching the other side. So we do that bit first, like that, and then from your mark to the dot, down to the top of the nose, around the corner to the base. And when you do this bit here, don't start at the dot or the mark, start at the beginning of the fabric underneath there, so that it's a nice edge, like this one, it goes right to the edge, stitched right to the edge there. So that's your head side piece, and we're going to attach there to there, and then come round from that point to there, starting at the beginning of the fabric all the way down to the nose, a nice sharp nose on that corner, round, and then down to the chin, round the chin and to the base. So there we have the front of the face done, the head rather, and I'll just turn it through so you can see. I've done a dark cotton so you can see quite clearly the stitching. So you can see actually the nose area is quite small, so if you reduce this in size, I intended to, but I haven't got the PDF pattern yet, I'm just working from my plans. If I wanted to do one at 90%, but I couldn't actually do that at the moment. But there you can see that the shape of the eye is coming through, and that you can choose to put your eye up inside there, and then you've got a natural eyelid to follow. So now we put the back panel on, and that's just straightforward, middle of the head and down either side. And then that would be the head completed. And that's the back of the head fitted. So that's now ready to stuff. Now working on the body parts, for the two body panels, what we're going to do is join the body panels together from the neck, joining that dot, and then going to the top of where his tail is. So that's that part, and then the underbody, front and back, we join them, not at the pointy bit or the straight bit, but you join these two pieces together here. So I'll do both of those. Okay, so we've done the two body sides together from the neck to the tail, and then we add this panel that you've just stitched together here. So you start at the pointy end, so the tail, and pin all the notches together so that they line up to the neck, and then we're going to stitch this one and then add the other side panel to it. So it's the pointy end here, and we've pinned at that point, notches together there, notches together there, notch, ease it round the corner, notch together there, and then up to the neckline. Okay, so that's the base fitted, but I hope you read the instructions and remember to leave the gap for stuffing, which I hadn't, so I've just had to unpick a little bit there. So you'll be stuffing it from the neck and the base. And this is ready to turn right side out and stuff along with the head. But we need to make up some covered wire. So just be a piece of wire that will go in the body and up into the neck. Some people don't actually do this part. I always will, and I'll show you how to do it in case you do. But as I say, some people don't actually bother. But I think with the neckline, it is a good idea to put the wire in because you've got a little bit more support there. It wouldn't need a lot of moving around to find that's a weakness there, so I would definitely advise it. So I'm going to prepare some wire ready to put in along with the stuffing. So I'm just in the process of wrapping the wire. So this is the 60 inches of wire, and all I've got here is a length of scrap fabric 2-3 inches wide that I've stitched together into a long length, and I just carry on wrapping it round to give protection to the wire, to the fabric rather, so you can't feel it through the deer, but also in this case so that the head is it doesn't go wobbly, because it's quite a thin neck on this one, so you want it to be very secure. So just do the whole of the 60 inches like that, and then I'll take you to the next stage. I've got to this stage now where I've stuffed the body and I've just pinned this back. That's got to be stitched back when we've finished. I've stuffed the head, and I've attached it. I wanted to show you how it's fitted. It will possibly take you 2 or 3 attempts to do it. This section at the back is slightly shorter, and the reason for that is to make sure that you can pull it down, you've got something to pull it down with, and it's obviously wider and it extends. So it gives you the chance to pull it down and take your time. You might want your head facing further down so you can see the eyes a bit more. You might want him facing up. Of course you could put him facing this way as well, forward. But I'm not sure. Well, I prefer it this facing either left or right. So I'll take these pins off so you can see how I've managed to get it down. And this is very much like Digby Dog if you've done the dog anyway. So we can pull that off. So there's my wire sticking up through, and I've filled that as much as possible to the top. And I've filled the head as much as I can. In fact, I'll take a little bit of that out, because now what you've got to do, and it's easier if there's no fabric on here, but obviously you need the fabric on here. You've got to slip that onto the head and then pull it down as tight as possible. So just wiggle that on, and eventually the wire will go up the back of the head and you'll be able to pull it down. You can see it's moving up there now, and we want it quite a long way up and quite tight. And then what we do is a series of pins all the way around, and to make sure that you finished your seams back stitched around so it doesn't come undone. And at the same time you're pushing the wadding up as far as you can, and you're pulling it down. More pins. Roughly it looks like that side seam lines up with this seam here to look, so he's looking at an angle. And the same with this one actually, that's lining up quite nicely. Wasn't planned, but seems to work. Right, so you can see that I've got all this stuff in here which has come out, so that's got to go back in again. And all you do, take a pin out and push that up, and then continue till you've got a nice transition. And of course that firms up nicely as well. Then pull it down again, pin it, and then go round to the next bit. It's a bit awkward to do in front of the camera. Poor devil's nose is being attacked. And then just be nice to disguise the wire in the back of his head if you can, but it's not so easy. So that's getting there. I'll do this side. So if you see any gaps, you can just either do it with your fingers or a paintbrush or just a pin to move it around. Well, actually I've put all that foam back, so I'll just get some more. Actually I just said foam, but I meant wadding. So I'm just going to do a little bit around the back, a little bit more around here. And then again, pull it down as tight as you can. And then take a look at it, see whether you want it to have a slight angle. My first one, the Harris Tweed one, has got quite an angle there, so it's a bit more like that. But you can have it more upright, and you can also have it looking forward and down a bit more, so again that's up to you. In some ways I like it looking a little bit down because you see a bit more detail of the eyes and the forehead. If it's too upright, you maybe lose that detail. So this may take you 2 or 3 times, but take your time because it's worth getting a nice shape to it. And this is more like fabric sculpting, really. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that. Don't worry about this sticking out here because you've got choices later on when you come to do the eyes. Yeah, I think that's about right. And it measures, I mean obviously you can do it whatever height you want, but I mean mine measure, what's that, 16 inches, about 16. So I think that's about right, but you might want it taller or shorter. Now I've brought some pebbles which you may want to put in. I haven't in the previous 2 that I've done. I don't really see the need for them, but if you want to just make it a little bit heavier, because this stage this is quite light, although the wiring for the legs does put on a little bit more weight, but I think actually what I'll do is a couple of pebbles in the front and a couple in the back in the plastic bag, and then try and work the wadding to go over it so you can't feel them. And then close up this and stitch the head on really well, really tightly all the way around, because you want that to be as tight and as firm as possible. So I do a nice sort of zigzag stitch all the way around there. The head now is nice and firmly stitched on all the way round, and I've closed the base, and I did put a couple of pebbles in the back and a couple of pebbles in the front, both in the little plastic bag, and it's amazing actually how much more you can get in there. I thought it was fairly well stuffed, but I could still get those in quite easily. I think the next thing to do would be to put some patch in on the head. It's easier to do at this stage prior to attaching the legs, because it's easier access without having the legs in the way. But patch, you've probably already done one of my patterns if you've bought this one, because this is a little bit more involved, so hopefully you've done another one. And just patch as you like. On a couple of mine I've done one patch right the way through here, so that it just emphasises that section there. And I would say patch until you've covered the stitching at the base, but don't do too much more, because when the legs are fitted, the fabric, the XX fabric, is pulled up and you kind of sculpture it round here and the back section. So if you do much more, as you pull the excess fabric up, you're going to interfere with it anyway. So I would say just come down to the stitching where you've joined the head to the body.